My name is Sukhee Kang. 42 years ago, 1977, I came to America looking for an American dream. And let me just begin by saying that who would have thought that 23-year-old young man from Korea came to the United States and could become the mayor of a major US city. 42 years ago, I was on a plane to a country that I only knew from history books. I had no plan, just got out of college, actually got married, graduated, and came to America. I did not know what my goal would be then. So I struggled quite a bit when I first came. My wife, Joanne, completely relied on me and decided to come here together. And yet, I felt like I was powerless. I couldn't give her any comfort. I couldn't meet anybody that I knew. So we used to actually go to Newport Beach and saying to ourselves, if we cross this Pacific Ocean, that's our home. Should I go back? And I answered myself. Joanne came with me in respecting me as a husband. And here I give up and going back to Korea. What a shame. This is your struggle. You have to overcome. I had nobody who I can get advice from. I had to really make my decision, and I had to really get used to, what I live, what I do. That was probably the loneliest moment that I ever experienced since I came to the country. I was desperate. I had no money in my pocket other than my parents gave me a couple $1,000s at the time. It was a lot of money. But I didn't want to spend any money, but I was running out of money. So I was desperate. So one guy called me up and wanted to have an interview with me. And I said, wow, finally somebody called me up. So on my first interview, it wasn't going very well. So I said to myself, well, if I lose this opportunity, probably I won't have much for another couple, 3 months. So I said, well, sir, I don't really have experience, but I do have a passion. And if you would allow me to work for 3 months to show you what I can do, maybe you can fire me then. He knew I was desperate. And hearing that comment, he kind of smiled. And he said, well, when can you start? I said, anytime. I can start right now. I said, no. You have to go through the process. So we'll put you on the next step. And that's how I got hired. And in 1977, I was 23 years old, working at Circuit City. That was my first job. So I was the first Asian salesman in the whole company. I still remember my first customer. I was on the floor and somebody came up. So I said, good morning, how can I help you? Oh, I'm looking for a stove, oven. And he said, eye-level oven, which I've never even seen ever in my life. So what's eye-level oven? So he approached and went over to the oven section, and he asked me, where's the vent? And I had no idea what vent meant at the time. So I was, I just didn't know how to answer. And he knew I was new. And he goes, what I meant vent is like, he kind of showed it, right? And my face was blushed and I was so embarrassed. So by showing his gesture, I kind of got it. And then, of course, my manager, saw me struggling. So he came over. Oh, Sukhee is on his first day on his job. And, I want to help you, what you're looking for. So I ended up selling a eye-level stove on my first day. And the customer patted on my back. I understand. Do the best you can. And that was my first advice. And that advice I never forget. So I said to myself, I will do whatever it takes to be the number one sales in the company. Number one, I have to keep my promise that I made to my boss who's hired me. So I have to really make good on me so that they know who Sukhee Kang is and what potential that I can bring to the table. I became top sales in 4 months, which means I kept my promise to the person who hired me. And through that, as a prize, they sent me and my wife to Hawaii. So, wow, this is America. This is the first time I felt, wow, this is a blessing. And so that was my beginning of my career, back in the days. I ended up spending 15 years with the company, and back in 1992, and I'm sure you all remember, the LA riot really broke. When I was watching TV that night, I saw the looting, all the destruction. Out of the frames of destruction came my personal inspiration to build coalition and build trust. That personal inspiration has actually navigated me to get involved with the Korean American community. Somehow I was involved with founding a Korean American democratic organization because we felt that we need some political clout to get our voice heard to the mainstream. And I felt that was my calling that I could do using my actually selling experience. So for 15 years, what I've learned in sales, in management, running a big stores, I learned how to really connect people and how to navigate difficulties and find solutions. And I just wanted to use my education, what I learned in sales, and apply to a political arena. Back in 2004, living in Irvine, I wanted to run for a public office. So I ran for city council. What it took to win was just walking door to door and raising money so that you can send out mailers to the voters and actually have an accurate description of who Sukhee Kang was. So I started walking door to door. First maybe a couple of months, it wasn't easy to get out there knocking on doors. You get a lot of rejection. In sales, we get a lot of rejection, right? People just, whatever you say and make a presentation, they don't buy. So they get a lot of rejection. So I have a prior experience of handling the rejection. So I think the people skill that I was able to get myself trained at Circuit City, that gave me a great foundation of how I can represent myself in public arena. So I was first got elected in 2004 as a city council member. I earned 2-year term. So I had to get reelected in 2006 and got 4-year term. And in 2008, I ran for mayor, and I was walking also door to door, another 10,000 doors, and making sure that I go out and continue the dialogue. What I have been able to do as a city council member for 4 years, this is what I would do as mayor, and continuing commitment. Just knocking on doors and talking to people, making sure that I earn their trust. And, by all means, I was elected as the first Korean American mayor in a major US city. As long as you aspire to be successful, then you could be somebody very special. So that was my notion when I first decided to run. I didn't have any money. I didn't have any, thing to really talk about. However, like what I did in sales, I worked twice as much as other people. I was always successful. So I had the conviction that if I work harder, run a harder campaign, possibly I can win. So I attribute my success in politics, business, and community service having been focused on the people. At the end of the day, people are the key to success. So having the concept of building the people infrastructure, working with people, through people, and be straightforward, I believe that was my key to success. My father, he taught us the most important things in life. If you don't try the hardest, you're not going to succeed, right? And also, don't ever lose that trust by people. And that lesson that I learned, it's a lifelong learning experience for me. And to this date, I thank my father and my mother to teach us the right things in life. My name is Sukhee Kang, and this is my Korean American story.